Welcome to 10,000 Women, 10,000 Stages. Empowering women like you to amplify your voice, your message, your movement. We believe that if 10,000 new women stepped into high-level leadership platforms, we can transform the industries across the planet. 10,000 Women, 10,000 Stages. And now your host, Nerissa Street.
Hi, my name is Nerissa Street. I am so excited that we are continuing this audio series for the 10,000 Women, 10,000 Stages focus, where we get to talk with some fantastic and amazing women who have amplified their voices and raised their platform to a national level. I am so grateful that right now we get to talk with the amazing Rachelle Salnave. And can't wait to bring her story and her absolute awesome goodness for the community here to you. So, Rachelle, how are ya?
Good. Thank you so much. You're awesome too.
I try. So, tell us who you are.
Who am I? I am love. I got a big heart. I don't like to say this too much, but I also, have a bit of, I have a lot of passion. For my community, the communities that I serve. I serve many communities, and I'm a person that's come on this earth for a reason. And I hope to be here for many seasons to say a lot, to continue to provide a message through the medium of filmmaking. And so that is, in a nutshell, who I am. Heart, courage, strength, a force.
Yay.
Force within.
Like that. Strength, a force. It's great when you have a woman who accepts that about herself, right? So it's amazing that you've been able to just own that you have a heart and you have passion. So what kind of work, I want us to dig in a little bit deeper for people who don't know the depth of your work. So that heart, that passion, that force, what kind of work has it brought you to do in the community?
Well, I'm an independent filmmaker. I have been mainly doing nonfiction films, documentary style films. My first documentary was an epic 10-year journey about the gentrification of Harlem, focusing on this marketplace called Mart 125 that is actually similar to the Little Haiti Cultural Center. There's actually a interesting connection with Harlem Mart 125 and the Cultural Center. And that same, like the Cultural Center, owned by the city of New York City, was really the first hub where independent Black entrepreneurs were able to use that space as an incubator and then eventually sort of grow their business and then hopefully get a storefront around Harlem. But of course, with the changes and the redevelopment that was happening, and then eventually gentrification pushing it out, Mart 125 closed. And so that was it took me about 10 years to make that film. And every time I watch it, the amount of energy that I put into that, the amount of energy and time, I believe it's like an important book that everyone has to have, because I was actually the first of just a handful of people at the time to really examine what this new phenomenon is. I like to call it my civil rights movement, because it is my civil rights movement. This is what is going on today with gentrification to me being a systematic racial movement. I don't want to say movement, really. It's really a system to displace people of color. And as I continue to learn more and more, it's global, and it doesn't actually just happen within the Black context, but it's this, sort of small versus big, and the big shark eating the little fish story. That was my first project, really, again, a big project. And then my second documentary was about my Haitian identity, which is, I guess, why we're here today. And another pretty big project, pretty big subject, talking about identity and what it means to be Haitian, and really also another examination of looking at this historical country, Haiti, the first country in the world, apart from Ethiopia, that's never actually been enslaved. The first country in the world. The first country in the world to free itself from colonialism. But yet, fast forward to when I was growing up, there was all these complexities of race and class that I didn't quite understand, that was really integrated into my psyche and my spirit. And I wanted to explore that through film. So I used my family and my own personal story as sort of a case study to touch upon those issues. And so in between those two major projects, I've done a couple of shorts.
What shorts have you done?
I did a short profiling Ira Kurzban, who was a lawyer during the Guantanamo Bay era, when Haitians and Cubans, but he mainly focused on the Haitians, were actually sent there when they tried to escape Haiti, and they got caught in the seas, and then they were actually jailed and housed in Guantanamo Bay. There's a profile on him and that sort of journey. I did a short documentary on this couple in Guatemala who believe that the macadamia nut tree can really reverse and save this whole climate change.
Wow.
Very interesting. Yeah, very interesting story about the macadamia nut tree. And then between there, to sort of pay the bills, but also still be connected to the film community, which is one of the communities I told you I'm a part of, this independent film community. I established 2 film series, one called Immigrant, which we'll talk about that soon, because La Belle Vie, my film, is a part of that. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about the films that I promoted. But Immigrant was a film series. It is a film series that promotes Haiti and the Haitian narrative. And then a few years later, I won the Knight Foundation doing this Knight Arts Challenge. And it was 150 words, and you got a grant if you sort of won and got selected with those 150 words. So my 150 words for the next series was that I wanted to create a global Black film series, a global Black monthly film series in the heart of Overtown, which is the Harlem of the South.
Wow.
So that was really successful. We did that for a year, every month. And we had we mixed it in with Black music from all over the world, Black films from all over the world, and the creators behind it, all in Overtown.
I remember. Month. It was great.
Yeah. And it was in a renovated church. Yeah. So I always felt like the pastor. You know, I always greeted everyone like, hello, you know, I'm your pastor, you know, reverend, whatever. So I've been pretty busy, like between, you know, creating and also doing this cultural creation for the community. But now I'm sort of getting back into creating and leaving the tutorial stuff on the back burner again. Yeah, so kind of switch back and forth, shuffle in the pots.
Well, I think that's how, as artists, we have to be. You know, I think there's a really interesting narrative where you think as a professional, your career is linear, but the world is not linear, and the world is cyclical. You know, so I think we as culture creators are really in a space of leadership that we are able to, as you say, shift the pots or juggle, you know, because it keeps us relevant, right?
I had to create a platform for myself and for other filmmakers because, well, growing up in Harlem, in New York City, I was exposed to a bastion of culture from around the world. And a lot of these cultural experiences were, you know, free access. You know, I had free access, so I went to schools that had partnerships with, you know, Alvin Ailey and all of this. So it's like I had, you know, just an amazing childhood experience growing up, being able to be exposed to cultural arts from around the world. When I got to, when I left New York, I went to Atlanta and then finally made it here to Miami. And what I found was that exposure was really missing. And if I wanted that exposure, I had to pay a lot of money for it. And it was just, it was missing. There was a void. And then when I created my own films, because of competition and because of just people who have been cultural curators and people who are in the behind the judging of the festivals, you know, films like mine are not really getting in. You know what I mean? So I had to create my own platforms. And subsequently, it was fantastic because not only did I create a platform for myself, but I sort of left the door open for other filmmakers to sort of give them also exposure and to show the community, like, hey, you know, like, open your mind to a world outside of Overtown, outside of Little Haiti, outside of, you know, Sistrunk, outside of Lake Worth. You know, open your mind because Blackness is so vast, but we all share, there's always like a common theme when you watch these films about about the human experience, really. So, you know, that's...
Can you talk about? No, you're fine, because I want to make sure we get to this. Talk about what it took for you to create your own platform.
Well, yeah, like I said, I see Maj starting off with the Haitian film series. You know, La Belle Vie, The Good Life. That's the documentary that's out now on Amazon Prime.
Congratulations,
you know,
by the way.
Yeah, thank you. That process for me was really important because it was my identity. It was my personal story. And one of the inspirations also behind the film was the lack of and the sort of branding that Haiti has and has had in our newspapers. I mean, even unfortunately, we have Miami Herald that, you know, is the only American English read paper that has a section only on Haiti. But if you scroll through it, it's like they are contributors of that brand, that Haiti is the poorest country in the world. Haiti is the dumbest country in the world. Our leaders are the worst. Everything is just worse. This is the most, complex. And it is. I mean, there's some complex. There's a lot of complexities, and there's that duality in Haiti. But the idea that the branding continues to stick with these journalisms, there's no real objective perspective on this amazing country that I like to call humanity. I mean, they just on May 18th, Haiti and the community here, which is actually Haitians are the second largest immigrant population here in Florida. Mm-hmm. In the States, and in the States, they just celebrated Flag Day, 1804, and to me, I call it Humanity Day because it's a country that the world can learn about in terms of a collective consciousness of people saying, no, we're not doing this. We're not going to be enslaved. We're human beings. We're not going to stand for slavery. We're going to rise up and build a new nation out of all of the trauma that slavery and colonialism has caused. Here it is, this small little island. I mean, there was a whole continent that was colonized, but this small little island happened to make it happen. And so, apart from me just being Haitian, that's an extraordinary story of perseverance, of just that courage and that strength. Mm-hmm. And so, again, going back to sort of building these platforms, it's for me important that people, especially Black folks from all over that reside right here in South Florida, have those dialogues and have those conversations about that sort of empowerment. And because that empowerment is not shared and seen in the mass media, it's actually the absolute opposite. So for me, it was about rebranding Haiti. It's about rebranding, the African diaspora through film and giving, these voices an opportunity to be like, oh, wow, like this is us. And also folks in Overtown who cannot travel to Haiti, who can't travel to Africa, who can't even travel probably outside of their circle, mm-hmm. to travel with cinema, go back in time or, present time or wherever the film takes place, that everyone is there together. So that is also the power of cinema. And again, the reason why it was important for me to create that platform through the series.
So one of the things that, and I notice this with a lot of leaders, that we get an idea and then we do it, right? And so in our minds, there is here's the idea, like you had the idea, I need to transform the narrative around Haiti. And so I'm just going to have the idea and execute it. What some people struggle with when they're just kind of finding their leadership groove is how, right? So you had the idea for the platform, right? And be as open as you want to and be as vague as you want to. But you had the idea for the platform. You know what? We don't see enough images that are positive about IED. What happened next?
Oh, what happened next was IET Maj, the film series.
So what did you do? Like, I had this idea. I picked up the phone. I wrote it down. There are people who need process.
Okay, so the process was I had a friend who said, listen, I have a friend in Haiti that needs help with his film. He wants to, this is Mario de la Torre. He's, a really great documentarian filmmaker in Haiti. He does extraordinary work. And he needed to have some film screenings here in Miami for his film, Storming Papa Doc. And then that same friend was like, oh, I have one more friend. Her name is Rachelle Salnave. We have the same name, Rachelle. She has a film, a documentary film. It's called Deported, and it's about it talks about deportation. She needs help on the screen. So I was like, I had 3 films. I had my film that was like almost done. I had Mario de la Torre's film, and I had Rachelle Salnave's film. I told myself, if I have one more film, I can create a traveling series where I take these filmmakers on the road, and I start from they'll spend 1 week with me. And so we'll start in Kendall. We'll stop in like 5 different locations along the 95. Nice. Start in Kendall. We'll do Coral Gables, Little Haiti, Broward, and then Lake Worth. I wanted to go all the way up to Orlando, but the partner at the time, it didn't work out. So I did that. I put that together. I put that proposal together, and I submitted it to just different organizations. I already had, my beautiful folks at the University of Miami. They'll do anything for me. They're like, whatever you want. We love you. We love Haiti. You do whatever you want. So, and then Kendall, like the South Miami came along because FIU, they loved the idea. And they also have a Haiti Institute.
Yeah.
So they were really, really supportive, and still today, which is how you and I connected, because I still do the series, but now in high schools. So that was an amazing experience. And it was so grassroots because I didn't have a whole lot of money to like put these filmmakers up in a hotel. So they all had to stay with me.
Wow.
So my house was like the artist in residency. My daughters were concierge. Jean was like the driver. I was the chef or whatever. Sometimes the filmmakers would cook. And we were just like a family, and it was really fun. It was actually really cool. And we were able to go to like each city in 1 week and promote the films. And then it kind of grew. After that 1 year of doing it, then the next year there were more like Haitian films. And these were like really good quality films. Now there's a lot of Haitian films, like kind of like the African market, Haitians have like
everything. There's everything.
But the films that I wanted to select were really films that were very strong in content, visually compelling, and just really captured all 5 aesthetics of what makes a really good film. So again, switched over from IT Image to Black Lounge Films because I really wanted to, again, bring that New York experience of bringing the world to me and bringing the world to Africa. Bringing
Africa to the world.
Well, globally, like global Black experience to Overtown. And that's what I did. And that was great. That was great too.
So I want to pull out the gems from the experience, right? So there are a few things that you said that I want to make sure our audience hears. Now, first of all, you had confidence in the idea, right? So it was an important enough idea for you to take the risk, right? So, and then recognizing an opportunity, right? So if a friend comes to you and says, hey, I have something, I know that you do film, can you help me with this? You recognize the opportunity, and then your family was on board. So even if we don't have a family that can be on board, having some sort of support system that enables you to take that risk and execute on it. The fact that Jean was your driver, for those of you who don't know, Rachelle, Jean is her partner. They are adorable. They're couple goals. And the fact that your family was excited about that too was amazing. And then the fact that you were really interested in not just executing the idea, but doing it in quality. Like you said, it had to be a particular aesthetic, because sometimes when we're excited about something, we're really like passionate about it. We just want to get it done. And I want to acknowledge you for really taking the time and saying, this is my vision. I'm not going to take the risk on something that doesn't execute, as you said, on those 5 principles. So I wanted to pull those out for the audience so that they could see what leadership really looks like. It's support, it's risk taking, it's holding to an ideal, and just doing the work. So thank you for doing that, because now we have this great experience.
Yeah, it's being persistent and just not giving up, even if it takes a while, like even if it takes some time, more time than you thought it would. If you really want it to happen, it will happen. And it's just, it's the elements of having the dream and working towards it, and just having the faith, knowing that it's going to happen.
Yay. So you are someone I've noticed who is a person of faith. So if you're on Rachelle's social media, at some point you're going to see her post something that's a spiritual scripture. How does that walk in faith help you balance your leadership?
It's everything. It makes it's everything, because listen, if I'm in an industry where, if you take things personal, you're never gonna go anywhere. And as an artist, sometimes it's hard, but when you really hone into that spirit and know that, you're here for a reason, and the talents that you have can't be buried. And you have to validate yourself. You can't let other people sort of validate you. You yourself have a feeling that people are feeling your work.
Yeah.
So you continue. And the things that people may not like or don't like is still okay. It's the idea that you are feeling it and you are doing your best, and you don't take things personal, good or bad. Compliments are great. Critique is what it is. I mean, we live in a time of social media where, people could say anything they want and comment, and you got these Twitter wars. I mean, sometimes, I have to check myself, because again, when you ask me who am I, I'm love, but I'm also, I can have a little rage in me sometimes when things, things that are really unjust and just don't make sense. And they're being branded again, this branding, it does rage me, but I realize every time I'm like about to be like, like I constantly have to like check myself when I'm at that rage, like enraged stage, and I'm just like, and I just want to go on, do this Twitter thug thing. Like, I have to check myself, and I have to like, okay, get back, get back, be thoughtful, And you know what I started doing is when I want to say something that's kind of like, throw it like a little, I'll say it and I'll practice my poetry, right? Oh, are you there? Oh, are you there?
I'm still here.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
What I've been doing, and I don't do this all the time, but when I want to say something that I feel like might be like a little like dart throwing,
Mm-hmm.
I try to practice my poetry.
Ooh.
And I write what I have to say, and at the end of it, I say, this is a poem. So, for example, you know, if I want to say something about what's going on in Little Haiti and the rage that I have about, you know, the unfairness
Right.
of, you know, people getting what they want because they have all of this money and they have all of this power, while people that have been there, that have risked their lives, like their parents and maybe their grandparents, risked their lives coming here, maybe by boat, maybe by plane, however they got here.
Right.
They risked their lives to come here for safety, to build a new life, to maybe dream to go back home, but at the same time, they're sort of building up a community. And, you know, someone comes in, so, you know, I'll write a little poem and I'll say, you know, this is a poem. But again, I have to be able to challenge my energy when I have that rage about injustice back to my art, back to really channeling what I want to see happen in the community, what I want to see happen in the world. And, you know, again, go like how you said, everything's sort of cyclical, what I want to see for myself, you know? So yeah.
Yeah, that's a challenge. I mean, and I'm glad that you were transparent about that, because a lot of people who step into a message or a movement or something that makes them want to go out and do something, they're doing it from a point of frustration. They're doing it from a point of rage. And then that is coming from a place of powerlessness, right? And so the energy behind your actions is always what it'll duplicate. The response to your actions will duplicate based on that energy, right? The foundational energy. So you being able to transition that foundational energy from powerlessness and rage to, where do I have power? Creativity. Creativity is a positive movement of power forward into, you know, something new. And the fact that you're able to shift that, I want to encourage my audience to do the same thing. Like we're talking, we're telling our stories, we're out there, we're amplifying our voices, not to get more of the same, but to create something new and positive. So I want you to talk a little bit about what's going on for you now, and what can we expect moving forward?
Yeah, well, I really, like I said, I spent a lot of time doing programming, and the years sort of went by really quick. And I realized, again, going back to the sort of the things that just enrage me sometimes, because it's kind of like when you have a child that you know has so much potential, but they just keep doing some wild things, and you're like, man, come on, why?
What you doing? Yes, I hear you. I hear you.
and then you become that parent that says, you know, you can't keep doing, as a parent, you can't keep doing the same things and expecting the same results. And so I'm metaphorically saying that I had to have that conversation with myself in terms of continuing to do the programming and continuing to always have to sort of have, whether it be some challenges in the community to get things done and have it a certain way, like doing all that administration thing. I was just kind of like, oh man, this is a lot. This is a lot. So what I have to do is I have to move the pots. I gotta switch pots. Let me put the programming in the back, even though I love it, and I wish that there was, and there's still time. I'm not just sort of giving it up, but just switching pots and getting back into the artist mode. So right now,
that's self-care. That's you caring for yourself. If it's not feeding you right now, if you burn out, then we lose everything. So no reason not to switch pots if it's not feeding you right now.
Yeah. And I'm a beast too with it. So, I need to compete with a few men. I need to like cultivate my little talent so I can, put my work out there. And so so I'm working on a couple of more things, you'll hear about it. And of course, business has to continue. Mm-hmm. So all of the success that I had, or I should say we had, because it's just not me alone, really. All the success we had with La Belle Vie, The Good Life, I know a lot of people in South Florida who maybe follow me and stuff. They've probably seen the film. They've followed the journey for the past couple of years. It's actually it never had a platform for people to see it other than these screenings. So
other than what you created. So you're saying oh wow.
Not only that I created, but even like when I showed it at the school,
right?
Like those kids were fortunate because at the time they were the only ones that were able to see the film at that school.
Right.
So other than film screenings that I've been invited to, or these school screenings, La Belle Vie, and even like getting nominated for an Emmy, distribution, it was pretty big. Yeah. Like, it was, and traveling all over the world, doing all these speaking engagements, distribution was not afforded to me at the time.
That is insane. Like I'm glad that this is my platform. I get to say stuff like that is insane. Like you are probably the hardest working local filmmaker with all of the, at least in South Florida, with all of the screenings and all of the places that you've been. In my mind, so just to tell you what it looks like on the outside, in my mind, your film already had distribution because I saw it everywhere. So if it's you, like the little engine that could, and your team, that's amazing. And also, I'm so happy to know that you are now on Amazon Prime.
and Vimeo On Demand.
And Vimeo On Demand, yes. And you don't have to be like the feet of this film, you're still the face of the film, but you don't have to be the feet of the film too. So that's amazing. Well,
yeah. I still have to get the word out there. So I am sort of on this campaign right now to just let people know it's finally available here. So that's kind of where you see a little bit of pickup.
You're here. I still hear you.
Okay. Yeah. So you see a little bit of like, a little pickup now again with La Belle Vie, because I do have to let everyone know now, hey, I'm a Black business. I know you may not see me as one, but I am a small Black business. Please support this film. Please tweet it out. Please forward it on to your family and friends all over the world. And that's
to help with that. So I'm glad that we were able to have you on this platform to help with that. Give people an idea, like when it's on Amazon Prime, is it that the more views that you get, the longer it's going to stay on Amazon Prime, or it does like it's there, cool, or like tell us how are we supporting you? Like, should we watch it 3 times when we get it, or like what do we need to do to support you as a filmmaker on Amazon Prime? And
no. I mean, if you saw the film and you want to watch it, again, it's fine. But it's more like getting the word out to people who haven't seen the film, getting the word out to different markets outside of South Florida. Because that's the thing as an artist. I mean, I don't know about anybody else, but it's always nice to have that hometown love for sure. You always want to have the most love in your hometown, which is now South Florida. But the love that I'm trying to reach for is, really the world, and specifically the areas where Haitian American, Caribbean Americans, and, African folks who have an interest in this theme of diaspora, a diaspora story to be shown. And so the idea is to, please forward it, tell your friends and family. Yeah, if you're going to watch it again, sure, watch it again, pass it down, let people know. If you have a platform like yourself, talk about it on your platforms. Because again, the more hits that I have, it's like, cha-ching, like, okay, I can pay down, take those funds and pay down on another project. And then next project comes, and then it's like, it helps the machine to keep going for sure. I just want to say one more thing. Also, as an independent filmmaker, as many independent filmmakers, having distribution for us is so key and important, because many of us, when we make this film, we are so interrupted because we have to now put on this distributor hat.
Wow.
And try to find a way to even get on these platforms, which are not easy. It's not easy. So, this is a big deal, and it is the end goal. I mean, when you make a film, you want a distribution platform so people can see it, Yeah.
So, okay. So we're hearing that definitely we watch it if we have Amazon Prime. We tell other people about it so they can watch it.
Or Vimeo on Demand.
Vimeo on Demand, same thing as well. So this is good. Okay, so if you don't have Amazon Prime, there's Vimeo on Demand. So this is good.
Well, also, obviously we're in South Florida, so you can go on both platforms. But someone in Canada doesn't have access to Amazon Prime.
Ah, okay.
Someone in Africa, someone in, I think France is opening up, but France is not going to be able to see La Belle Vie. So if someone is listening or watching here that has friends and family in those areas, they can go to Vimeo on Demand and watch it.
Perfect.
And that's, again, a very, it's important. Like, that's the business structure of, this whole filmmaking process. Right. The business of filmmaking.
Yeah. So thank you for being transparent about that, because I think people, they get on the platforms and they're excited that they have it, but forget that to sustain the work, you also, as I said, are not just the face or the voice, but you've got to be the feet too. So I'm glad that you have now at least a place that is helping you sustain the work, because the work has to continue. We talk about burnout all the time in the group that I manage, the 10,000 Women, 10,000 Stages group, and burnout happens when you're not balanced. So like that shifting of pots that you're doing, I'm happy to know that it's going to continue to sustain you. So we're going to wrap up. I've got a couple more questions for you, and these are questions that are adapted from one of my favorite interviewers, James Lipton, who has since left the planet. And so my first question to you is, what's your favorite curse word?
What's my favorite curse word?
Yes, ma'am. And if you don't curse, you can say you don't curse.
I'm a Christian. I don't curse.
Okay, there we go.
I'm just kidding. I mean, I'm not kidding, but
well, you can. I mean, I've had both. I've had both responses.
Darn it. Okay.
Darn it. Yeah, that is a curse word. So wonderful. What's your favorite quote?
Favorite quote. My favorite quote. Oh geez, what is it?
Maybe it's a favorite scripture.
My mind's drawing a blank, but
that's all right.
I'm probably butchering the quote, but the premise is, do the best that you can with where you at, with what you have, with where you're at. I think that's Theodore Roosevelt.
Beautiful. If heaven were to exist on earth, what would it have in it? What would it have to include?
Well, the beach, of course. The beach, a mango tree, a garden, green birds, the silly ducks, the lizards. Come on now, give it up for the lizards during these quarantine times, okay? Lizards are tough. You paying attention to lizards now, okay?
Yeah.
And of course, good people, positive people, happy people, happiness, endless happiness and joy, endless fun, long days, short nights, hammocks.
Yeah. You have a picture of yourself in a hammock that is fabulous. And Jean took the picture, right? There is nothing like supportive partners who know how to get your angles. What?
He's a photographer, so.
Oh, so wonderful. Okay, so where can we? It was beautiful. It was perfect. Oh my gosh! I don't know. I'm sure he had to climb up into a tree or whatever he did. Beautiful. So okay, where can we find you?
Well, I mean, I don't have like a professional page or anything. My Instagram and social media are like a mix of my personal and, of course I promote stuff on there and I'll say a few words, but, my name is Rachelle, Rachelle. Last name is Salnave, Salnav like Victor E. And if you want to check out the stuff that I did in the past with Black Lounge Films, you can go to blackloungefilms.com. You can go to IT, which is actually spelled the original version of how they spelled it, AYITI, and then the word images in French, we say image, .com. And yeah, that's how to find me. I don't have a website yet for my professional work, I should say. But all of my projects have like Harlem Mart 125. If you go on YouTube, it's on there for free. I wasn't able to really get that distributed the way I wanted to, but hey, it's on there for free. La Belle Vie has a website. And then you can go on Amazon Prime, Vimeo on demand. You can go, if you want to see some of my work, like some of the shorts I was telling you about, you can also go on Vimeo. When you go on Vimeo on demand, you click on my profile, you'll see, I guess that's my professional website, Vimeo, vimeo.com/Rachelle Salnave.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Wonderful. Okay. So any parting words of wisdom or anything else that you want to leave us? It doesn't have to be stunning. It can just be honest.
Do the best that you can with what you have, with where you are.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. This has been Rachelle Salnave. Okay. Wonderful.
Thank you for tuning in to 10,000 Women, 10,000 Stages. Share this episode with someone who needs it. Find us at 10,000women10,000stages.com.